Hey everyone, please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show. So, the other day I was thinking about some of the old modules from the elder days, and my eye happened to land on the Ghost Tower of Inverness, and that's what I want to talk about today on Greyhawk Grognard. So, Ghost Tower of Inverness is one of those classic modules from the old days. It's written by Alan Hammock. It was originally done as a tournament module for WinterCon 1979, and then it was published in 1980 as a regular module. It's it's a classic tournament module where it's basically the players are supposed to go through the dungeon and solve a bunch of riddles and traps and stuff like that there. I'm not going to go too much into the actual module because it's pretty straightforward. There are puzzles it's a puzzle dungeon throughout the whole thing. There's a little bit of combat here and there, but it's mostly problem solving. There's the elemental themed puzzles, or air, earth, fire, and water. One of them's upside down. There's a chess problem. It's your usual stuff. And in as much as it is kind of the typical of its type, it's really good. I've run this several times myself. It's a really good, solid puzzle dungeon. But what fascinates me more than that is the impact it has on the world of Greyhawk, because it was kind of retrofitted, as everything was at that time, retrofitted into the world of Greyhawk, and it is set in Ernst. Well, at least the setup is in Ernst, the Duchy of Ernst, which is the one of the two Ernst states that's closest to Greyhawk. And it's the seer of Ernst, who's like the high wizard of Ernst, who's sending out the PCs, who are provided in the tournament module and are the key to what I'm talking about its impact, to go to the ancient ruined tower and find the MacGuffin called the Soul Gem. And it's basically a magical gem that fell from the sky, and it will take the souls of different people in its area. So it's pretty standard stuff, and they're given an amulet of recall that once you get the prize, you go back to the wizard and you win the tournament. But what intrigues me are some of the background things here. So I'm gonna from the module background itself, we learn that before the invoked devastation and the rain of colorless fire, when the ancient peaks of the Aber Als still thrust skyward sharp and majestic, and the Flan tribesmen were but newcomers to the land, there existed between the bright desert and the mouth of the river Selentan a great fortress called Inverness. The walls of the castle were proof against enemies and all things magical and natural. Here was said to dwell the great wizard Galabdradel at the height of his power and glory, and that he did lift Castle Inverness from the very foundation of rock. Okay, yeah. It also makes a great point about the soul gem itself having fallen from the sky. Here we go. The legend said it was like a great white diamond, and that it glowed with the brilliance of the sun. In years past, it had fallen from the sky and landed in the foothills of the Aber Als, where Galabdradel discovered it as it lay in the fires of its glory. And then he sends the whole tower, traveling, makes it kind of immune to time, which is how the PCs can get in there, because it reappears at intervals. Now, the first thing is the soul gem kind of reminds me of way further on in Spelljammer. You've got the star gems that are on the inside of the crystal sphere of Earth and of gray space. And it makes me wonder if that's not like a fragment of the star gems, having come from space. I mean, obviously that's a retcon, and I'm just trying to fit things together that weren't intended to be fit together, because this was obviously written many years before that, and when that was written, and obviously I don't think they were thinking that this was part of it. Now it can't be the whole one because those things are so huge, and this one is about the size of a fist. So, so there, first of all, there is that. So there's this ancient pre-twin cataclysms, civilizations, and such, and this is part of it. We don't get any more information, about what was he protecting the tower from, where did he come from, where did he learn his magic. Just Galadriel was just there, and had some knowledge of magic of time, which brings out the second Chronomaster book, which I've always had a soft spot in my heart for. But now we get to the PCs, because it comes with the player characters from the tournament. And I apologize for the noise in the background. They're doing construction behind my house, and I can't do anything about it. First of all, the Duke is introducing all of the PCs to each other. His gaze falls upon one of your party, a thin man with a short black beard. Hodar, he says, you dared defy a royal order and continued to dabble in sorceries which I had forbidden to all the people of my realm. That's an interesting thing, because that's the only place that we have any mention of a ban on using magic in the Duchy of Ernst. That's the only place I'm aware of that we see that. It's also kind of self-contradictory within the module, because we have the Seer of Ernst, who is himself a mighty magic user. So, is this referring to some sort of ban on magic users in general? Is it something specific that he does? Because looking at the NPC character sheet, at first I thought, oh, well, maybe he's like an illusionist or something. No, he is just a straightforward magic user. He is 10th level, and the only thing I could think of is maybe he has spells in his spell book that are forbidden. He's got a pretty extensive spell book. You're not going to be able to read it, but right here you can see it. It's for a 10th level magic user. That's a pretty hefty list of spells, and obviously they wanted to give a lot of spells to that character because it's a tournament module, and they wanted to give the player a lot of choice. But it does raise the question of what sorceries was he dabbling in that were so forbidden? Because he doesn't really have anything out of the ordinary. It's like there's no new spells or anything here. It's just straight out of the player's handbook. So we can guess that it's not just magic in general that's banned. Maybe something that he was doing specifically, but there's no real clue to what that might be. So. That is an interesting question right there. I personally like to think that he was investigating new spells or something like that. 10th level, you're not really up there yet, but there's got to be something that's being referred to there, and I would love to figure that out and kind of flesh that out. The next one that we have that's I'm going to do this a little out of order. The Duke then turns and slowly bows to the last of your group, the tall, barefoot woman. Of all you 5, declares the Duke, Lihan is the only one here who should not spend the rest of her life in prison for some crime. I am deeply honored, Lihan, that your monastery saw fit to offer your services to me as payment of this year's taxes. So we know that there are, in fact, taxes on monasteries in the Duchy of Ernst. So, that's another bit of interesting lore that could be worked into your own campaign. It doesn't have to be specific to this dungeon, but the mere knowledge that in Ernst they tax monasteries where monks are trained, it could be a pretty significant thing. Now, the last one that I think is important and interesting is this one. Zinethar, says the Duke, shaking his head as he addresses the next in line, a distinguished-looking man with gray hair. Your wisdom must have left you when you decided to lead that ill-fated Temple Coalition revolt these 3 months past. And that, of course, got me wondering who is Denethar's patron deity. Looking at the character sheet, he is lawful neutral. And that, in and of itself, gives you some ideas as to, what his god could be. He is 9th level, and, there's nothing very extraordinary. There's no background information as there is, beyond that introduction, as there is in, say, Temple of Shrine of Tomoakan, which has little bios of all the different guys. That's all you get. And that got me thinking, what gods could he be worshipping that would be behind a revolt against the Duke? So I went to the guide, and I looked up the list of, I've got the list of gods, and what are the lawful neutral gods there that could be behind this? Lendor, no, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Weejas, maybe. Zilchus is a definite possibility. Then we go down to, Sindor, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm going around, and then my eyes light on Foltest. And it really makes me think, and this is just my supposition, there's nothing in the module to suggest this, that it was perhaps a Foltest-led coalition of some of the more rigid faiths that, or maybe it's just it was a subsect of the Foltest Church in the duchy, and some of the temples of Foltest got together in this temple coalition and decided to maybe they didn't think that maybe they thought that the Duke was not being sufficiently pious or something like that, so that we can pin this. This temple coalition revolt in about 577 common year. So that is now my headcanon, and it shall be forevermore until somebody comes up with a better solution. There we go. That's my thoughts on this. Is as is usual with some of these early modules, because they were not originally written for Greyhawk, but they were kind of put into Greyhawk, they add to the setting by making assumptions and statements that weren't necessarily anticipated by Gygax when he wrote the guide. So it then becomes a fun exercise to try to figure out how does that fit into the whole. So anyway, it's fun for me. So hope you liked this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of the module itself, and let me know, have you ever used any of these little call outs and such to influence your own campaign. Now, it should be noted that there is an RPGA Living Greyhawk return to Ghost Tower of Inverness. I think I wasn't a big. I never played in Living Greyhawk, and especially I didn't play that, so I don't know what's in it. But as far as the original module goes. So let me know what you thought. Let me know in the comments. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and stay safe from Pinkerton. Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.